You want me to put that on my Tudor?
Harry's wife. Nobody wants your advice. Hello, I'm HG Tudor. Now, before I get down to telling you about who's telling Harry's wife to basically bog off and that nobody wants her advice, I'm going to make mention of the fact that Doug, who has interviewed me a number of occasions in relation to channel Dazed But Confused, has set up a new channel. Doug is a good chap, and he and I invariably have a good conversation about the facets of narcissism and also, of course, the fact that he escaped Scientology, something that he and I are exploring at the moment. Unfortunately, his previous channel got taken down by the beasts at YouTube, and notwithstanding his attempts to have that reinstated, he unfortunately didn't get very far and therefore has started a new channel. I know many of you enjoy the discussions that Doug and I have, and therefore you'll find in the video description the handle to take you to Doug's new channel if you'd like to go and have a little look there and to subscribe also. So a shout out there for Doug. Give him some support. Now, back to Harry's wife. She's been told that nobody wants your advice. But who's saying that? Well, it comes from the Express newspaper, and as always, I leave it up to you to make a determination as to the veracity of the information that's provided. I provide you with the analysis. The article by Robert Fisk tells us, Harry's wife told, no one wants your advice, in ruthless takedown of blog comeback. Harry's wife ditched her blog when she got engaged to the Prince of Pink Pancakes, and it isn't yet known whether it will adopt the same mix of fashion, travel and beauty tips when it comes back. Many of you will be thinking, I don't give a rat's ass as to what it contains. Nevertheless, Harry's wife's relaunch of her lifestyle blog has been slated before it's even happened, with critics saying no one cares about her advice. It is thought that the Duchess of Sussex wants to go head-to-head against massive enterprises such as Gwyneth Paltrow's £200 million lifestyle brand Goop. Yes, lifestyle brand of candles that smell of Gwyneth's vagina. But with the Sussexes not currying much favour with Brits after the publication of Prince Harry's book, Wah, and their Shitflick series, where they savage the royal family, it's not thought that she will get many hits in the United Kingdom. And she may find a similarly cold reception in the United States, where she and her husband were recently the butt of the joke of a recent episode of the satirical cartoon South Park, as well as being laughed at by several commentators. Now, anybody, of course, can create a blog, and there are some people who are talented. They have a knack for picking out excellent interior design, finding interesting and quirky and unusual gifts. They may have a talent, of course, for cooking. They may be very good writers, engaging and interesting with useful observations about the way that they see the world. None of those things apply to Harry's wife. She's the Duchess of Industrial Beige. Her only talent is basically sinking her teeth into other people and sucking them dry before moving on to the next target. That's been evidenced by the way that she has moved through life, with the way that she's used friends and then disengaged from them, the way that she's used men and disengaged from them. She is not an author, she's a mediocre actress, she's not a politician, she's not a dancer or a singer or a philosopher, she's not an entrepreneur. All she's able to do is mimic others and then, driven by and guided by her narcissism, utilize people for the pursuit of the prime aims. Now, of course, it's clear that she's met with some success in that regard. She's moved from Harry's wife who to, oh, her again. And she is internationally infamous. She's also made a lot of money. So, by those standards, you would say that she's met with considerable success. But beyond that, success has evaded her. She has, as I've explained to you before, the Sadim touch, whereby everything that she touches turns to shit, like the reverse Midas touch. She writes something, it's laughed at. She voiceovers something, it's dull. She attempts to get more work of that nature, she fails. She talks about a 40 by 40 enterprise, nobody's interested. She takes up the political cudgel on behalf of people for parental leave. It fizzles out within moments of her doing so. She has no innate talent. It's seen. And of course, South Park picked up on this by causing Harry to look inside and finding that she's empty on the inside, which is completely true. She has no original thoughts of her own, no spark of creative genius. All she can simply do, like the parasite that she is come along and camp onto somebody else's ideas, suck them out of them, regurgitate them, perhaps recycle them in some shape or form, and move on. Many people now recognise this about her and find that not only do they not like her because of the way that she's behaved, but even she doesn't have the inherent talent to overcome that. There'll be many of you listening to me who can think of examples of famous people where you think, well, they're a bit of a twat, I wouldn't want to be friends with them, but I don't have to be, but I really like their music. Or, yeah, they come across as a bit of a douchebag, but in a weird kind of way that's part of their appeal. And it's not like I need to go down to the pub with them on a Friday night or share a bed with them, but I really like their work, I like their art, I like their literature, etc. And so there are many people that you may look at and think, bit of an odious individual, but I can't help but admire them because they have a talent and they utilise that. So there are many sports people that fall within that category, pop stars, artists, authors, entertainers and so forth. Certain entrepreneurs, tech giants, you think, well, complete grade A arsehole, but the devices that they create are really good. I don't have to deal with them personally, so I'm quite content to buy them. But when it comes to Harry's wife, and typical of her mid-range status as a narcissist, there's not really a lot going on there. There's no inherent talent and ability to offset her general unpleasant behaviours. And accordingly, it's unsurprising that the Express heralds that nobody wants her advice, because who wants to listen to somebody who only exists, in the minds of many people, as a consequence of the person that she married? The article continues by explaining back then when she ran the TIG, features reportedly included how to make an Aegean-style kale salad and beet cheesecake. Wow. As well as how to master winter wellness and discussions about fundamental human rights. Like she gives a rat's ass about it. Her blog was called The TIG after Harry's wife's favourite Tuscan wine, Tinanello. Speaking about it in the past, she said it was an aha moment at its finest. Character trait acquisition from Alan Partridge, it would appear. For me, it became a TIG moment, a moment of getting it, once again demonstrating, of course, her dim-wittedness because you don't pronounce the T in Tinanello. From that point on, any new awareness, any new discovery, or, oh, I get it, was a TIG moment. Commentator Celia Walden says that since then, there has been a notable lack of any TIG moments. Writing for the Daily Telegraph, Ms. Walden said, certainly Harry's wife didn't get royal life or at any point during that stuffy stint garner any new awareness that there was only one star in the room, and that was the Queen. She didn't get how badly her Oprah Wingathon would go down and how tone-deaf that 6-hour shitflix documentary would sound to a post-pandemic world beset by social, economic and existential challenges. Last week, Newsweek reported that the Sussex's popularity had plummeted to an all-time low in the United States, with the Prince of Pink Pancakes down 48 points since December and Harry's wife down 40. Ms. Walden says the biggest problem with Harry's wife's plan to relaunch her blog is that all of the successful lifestyle brands are a success because people are envious of the celebrities running them, like Gwyneth Paltrow and Reese Witherspoon. She went on to say, to be handing out advice from this lowly podium certainly shows consummate, if I'm tempted to say delusional, self-belief. And of course, that is commensurate with the deluded self-belief that Harry's wife has. Walden went on to state, because here's the thing about Paltrow. You can deride her $15,000 vibrators and affordable yacht rental services all you want, query the science behind her 8-day mono-diet goat milk cleanse and vagina steaming witch doctorisms, But in the eyes of Goop's 8 million plus subscribers, the 50-year-old Oscar winner is an inspirational human being with a covetable life. Of course, the same can't be said for Harry's wife. Paltrow, of course, is a narcissist also, but she styled herself in a different way and hasn't invited universal dislike. Yes, there are many people that find that she's up herself. There are many people that find her laughable, but largely think that she's essentially harmless, not the view that's formed of Harry's wife. Many people see her as a despicable, hate-filled figure, and of course, they're not wrong. And therefore, who is going to want to take advice from this resurrected blog from somebody that is largely disliked and has no actual ability or credentials? It's going to be infested with the sugars, and nobody else is going to be interested, because ultimately, nobody wants her advice. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.